Hi, it's Darin Eppich. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna go into should you buy a home in 2022? It's kind of a hot topic, especially now that the year is ending. You know, we're talking about physical real estate here, not the recent trend of virtual real estate. That's on a previous video with NFTs. But also we're gonna introduce a new character today, Negative Nathaniel. He's my twin brother, and you should have a lot of fun with him. He's only gonna, comment on as we go into the pros and cons of the 5 key factors in terms of things that you should know that are gonna, kind of take place in 2022, so you have an idea of if you should buy or not. Hi everyone, I'm Negative Nathaniel, and thanks for having me, Darin. I don't know why I have the name Negative Nathaniel. I just share my viewpoints, and I'll be covering the cons of each key factor in 2022. Thank you. If you like the video today that you see, please like my video. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Also, if you're one of the millennials, there's 45 million of you. This will be the first year in 2022 that you are in your prime time, if you will, 26 to 35 years old to buy. Like I said, should you buy in 2022? Here we go. Yes or no? I'll answer it at the end, or I'll give you my thoughts and also give you pros and cons. Here we go into the 5 key factors on should you buy in 2022. Number 1, pretty much the most important factor moving forward in 2022 and has been the last couple of years, is record low interest rates. That's gonna change in 2022. They expect them to go up to about 3.6, 3.7%, maybe even 4%. It could be a big disruptor in terms of purchasing power, your monthly mortgage. Basically, everyone who's been buying the last couple of years has gotten free money because the interest rates have been so low. Touched on this before, but a lot of it, why the Fed is gonna raise interest rates is because of inflation right now. So they have to level it out. Like I said, it's gonna be the most impactful overall in terms of buyers, sellers, and how the market plays out. We're gonna see how it goes, but I mean, if you're a buyer, long story short, it would be smart to do it early in the year. Pros to this are interest rates rise, it'll level out the amount of buyers there are, so you won't see such a frenzy. And now to answer the cons, I'll ask Negative Nathaniel right over here in my corner. Negative Nathaniel, what do you think? Thanks, Darin. In regards to interest rates, if you're a seller, the cons are, if you think you're gonna make the money you did in 2021 and 2020, I'm here to tell you you're not. The appreciations are gonna be good, but you're probably not gonna make the money you expected like 2021 and 2020. If you're a buyer, you wanna act fast, because they're gonna increase rates. You'll pay more for your monthly mortgage. Thanks, Darin. That's my cons on interest rates in 2022. So now we're gonna talk about number 2. Rental prices, home rentals will outgrow home sale prices. So what does this mean? Well, rents are supposed to increase about 7.1% this year. In 2020, we saw kind of a dip. We saw a lot of people trying to take advantage of homes. At least in LA, I saw it in my market, trying to take advantage of homes and get them at a deal because, they figured, they were losing renters. People were evacuating certain cities. You saw max exodus. You also saw a lot of people buy in, middle of nowhere. So, rentals in a lot of places went down. Since that's gonna outgrow home sale prices, it's gonna kind of put it in an interesting situation. Higher mortgage rates will cause more people to rent, thus creating that influx of prices on rentals. It's complicated because, in one aspect, it's great that rents increase because it'll make people that thought about buying maybe just, kind of like stop pit-putting and actually buy. But then also you have people that are, going to be priced out of certain places because they can't even afford rent. The pros are real simple, could really benefit investors who have solid income properties. It also could push more buyers, like I said, to decide to buy versus rent because it's so much more expensive to rent, after going up so much in certain cities. Also, this would be a chance, if you can increase the rents, it'll be a chance for a lot of landlords to make up rents they've lost money the last couple of years, or, haven't had to have, tenants pay because of the eviction moratorium, etc., with COVID and pandemic. So that's the pros. Now I'm gonna ask the Negative Nathaniel, what do you think? What are the cons? In terms of cons, in regards to rental prices increasing, it just means that markets are getting, housing's getting more expensive for tenants or buyers. So they're gonna have to make a decision. So it could change the market drastically. But basically, if you're a buyer or a tenant looking to find housing and you don't have housing currently or just moving to Los Angeles or any major city, you're gonna pay more than you did prior. So that's the cons. And so that should sum up, your, number 2, which is rental prices are going to increase about 7.1% across the country. It's a lot of things to decide if you should buy in 2022, because if rent goes up and you can afford the down payment, you should really strongly consider buying. Number 3, buyer's demand. Buyer's demand is said to continue to be strong across the board from all chief economists, from Realtor.com to NAR, like across the board. The only thing that can make it kind of hiccup a little bit is going back to number 1, which is the most important factor, which is interest rates. You may see some people decide to rent instead of buy, but overall, buyer demand will be strong. There's 45 million millennials, it'll be their first time in home buying ages between 26 and 35. And the only thing that can slow it down, like I said, is if, in terms of buyer demand, is really interest rates. If they skyrocket, that's going to be really the most important thing. The pros to buyer's demand is it's going to keep the seller's market, the real estate market, pretty hot, if not at least warm. Not as hot as 2021, a lot of predict, but still going forward. This is great news for sellers. They do predict, I think, moving forward the next few years, that it still could be a seller's market, or the appreciation will still continue to rise. My gut tells me that 2022 may be one of the last hot market years for sellers, or maybe that'll be the year there's more balance, which a lot of people predict as well. Now I'm going to ask the negative Nathaniel, what are the cons to this market, or to buyer's demand? Thanks, Darin. In regards to buyer demand, the cons are real simple. If you're a buyer, the demand will still be there, but not as bad as 2020 and 2021 as we shared earlier. Also, for a seller, if the buyer demand does dwindle because of interest rates, as we discussed, which is a very important factor, for sellers, they may not make as much money as they did if they would have sold a year ago. Thank you. Number 4, inventory still pretty low. This will play a factor. They do say it'll increase a little bit in 2022. It'll pick up because, supplies should, in theory, decrease a little bit in terms of cost. So you'll see a lot of construction, new builds by builders. So that should help with the buyer demand by increasing inventory. And also another factor could be, mortgage forbearance. You might see a lot of people that were not having to worry about selling may have to now because they're so far behind on mortgage payments. I don't know if that's a futuristic 2008, 2009, little like foreshadowing, but I don't have a crystal ball. If you see those increase, you may see a different market. More on mortgage forbearance in the future, another video. I'll be doing a new video on that in the next few weeks. But here's some pros. More inventory will help stabilize the market to meet buyer demand, or so they say. More inventory is great. It's just going to stabilize everything and make it not such a frenzy for buyers. So sellers will still have a solid market in selling their home and cashing out, if you will. And buyers it won't be so crazy for buyers like it's been in 2020 and 2021. So those are pros. Now to the cons. Hey, negative Nathaniel, what do you think? Thanks, Darin. Cons for inventory still being pretty low, but yet still increasing. For sellers, it means probably less of a cash out compared to maybe a year ago. Not as much of a frenzy because there's more inventory. So there may not be, for certain houses, as much of an upside as they saw in the past. Not a big con, but definitely a con. Thank you. Back to Darin. And so as you see what negative Nathaniel said, that gives you number 4, inventory, pros and cons, a little overview. And now moving on to number 5. Number 5, which it's an interesting factor because I can see it playing out and I've seen it before. I don't know how much of an impact it'll make in 2022, but it's foreign buyers buying luxury real estate. Foreign money did really good in the stock market looking back at 2021. They say that a lot of foreign buyers are going to buy U.S. luxury real estate in 2022. And what that could do is actually increase the values of luxury real estate in our markets, in our luxury markets. That's what these economists are saying. I'm kind of iffy on it, but I'm reporting basically what my research shows me. This is the one that I'm kind of like, I don't know, because I feel like a lot of luxury markets are inflated, but who knows? Maybe they know a lot more than I do. Maybe that's why they're chief economist. These buyers are not impacted by interest rates as much because they, the gains they made in stocks and their business in 2021. So they're not like a lot of buyers in the US and a lot of the markets that, every dollar counts. They're a higher end, they're a more affluent audience. The foreign buyers that a lot of times buy in the US are very wealthy, hence a lot of cash or all cash. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. The pros are you may see luxury real estate values increase in value, which will help, luxury markets and continue the stability of this seller's market in this hot market. Now for the cons, we're gonna ask, Negative Nathaniel over here. In terms of foreign buyers buying luxury goods, or I mean luxury homes, probably the biggest con is, or the negatives, if you will, you can't bank on foreign buyers to buy luxury, homes in the United States. What if COVID spikes? It could change drastically. So banking on this factor, banking on luxury homes to maybe increase or stabilize or continue to increase or appreciate, increase in home sale prices, this one is yet to be determined. So the negative or the con is it could change if COVID spikes again, because why would they want to continue to buy property here if they can't at least enjoy it a little bit? So you'll maybe get less people to want to buy. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you. Now you see the cons, the pros and the cons. Number 5, foreign buyers buying luxury real estate. So final thoughts. Should you buy, a home in 2022? It's really up to you. Like I said, it's always a case-by-case basis. It depends on what, checks off your boxes, what you're really interested in for. If you're someone who's been looking, you're on the fence whether you should buy early in the year or later in the year, I would say buy early in the year. If you're someone who wants to compare, contrast rent to buying, if rents are really gonna increase like they are, I would say it would benefit you to buy in 2022. Interest rates are only gonna go higher. They make a huge impact. So if you have the down payment, I do suggest highly that you buy in 2022 and probably early in the year. They show across the board, almost every city and nationwide, that I've read between 6% to 15% appreciation in 2022. I actually think it's going to be probably closer to the lower end because we had such a huge 2021. If you're thinking about buying, you should definitely buy in 2022. If you have the down payment, you want to make some money on your money and you don't want to throw it away on rent, I do think the longer you wait, the better the buyer demand will maybe lessen because interest rates will go up, but doesn't necessarily mean that every single time in every single situation that the actual home values are going to do anything but still continue to go up, because they still expect them to go up. It just won't be such a frenzy. So those are my final thoughts. Should you buy a home in 2022? Case by case basis. I think I would recommend it. I can't say yes or no. It's really up to you. You just have to take the information that's given to you. So until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.